Now, the retired British businessman Christopher Tappin will be landing in Texas later this evening in the custody of 2 U.S. Marshals. The 65-year-old was extradited to America without the opportunity to make any case in his own defence under a controversial US-UK extradition deal. He said the terms of the treaty, described by his lawyer as inhumane, meant that he had fewer rights than if he were a terrorist. Here's Parag O'Brien.
This was Chris Tappin and his wife this morning, ushered into the custody suite at Heathrow Police Station.
Yes, good luck. Thank you very much.
After this, he was handed over to 2 US Marshals, placed in leg irons and flown to a prison in El Paso, Texas. And this was Chris Tappin and his wife just 48 hours ago.
We always felt we would be protected. We have human rights. All of our rights would be protected, not just our human rights, but our families' rights, our whole fabric of society's rights would be protected. Unfortunately, they've been sold down the river.
I think the most hurtful thing is that he hasn't been given a chance to prove his innocence. In court here, he's got to go to America.
At the retired shipping agent's house in Kent, it all feels more gin and jag than Lord of War. The Americans want him, though, because 6 years ago he was involved in the export of what turned out to be batteries for an Iranian missile system. The company he was trading with was run by the FBI. It was a sting. The details of the transaction between the FBI front company and the one Mr. Tappin used to work with are unclear. The truth is, of course, we don't know whether Chris Tappin was involved in criminality or not. But this isn't a story about one man's misfortune. This case has become another lightning rod for the row over extradition. When UK authorities want an American, they have to hand over
such information as would provide a reasonable basis to believe that the person sought committed the offence.
When the Americans, on the other hand, want a Brit, they don't have to provide this standard of information. Last year, a government review said the system was fair, that the differences reflected the country's legal systems rather than the US just throwing its weight around. Its critics, though, say that in practice, prosecutors here and in America just do a deal.
We're talking about prosecutors getting on the phone or meeting up and saying, well, actually, do you want the case or do we want the case? And there's serious questions as to why the CPS didn't want to prosecute Mr. Tappin. Is it because they don't think that they could have used the evidence because he was being the subject of an entrapment? But whatever the reasons were, we as the public and he as the accused don't know the answer to that.
The Prime Minister called for a proper, sober and thoughtful review of the treaty, seen as the government giving itself some elbow room for future reform. Chris Tappin, though, is having none of it.
I look to Mr. Cameron to look after my rights, and he's failed to do so.
And with that, off to the airport to meet the Marshals in a special security van. Compliments of the special relationship.